Hello everyone, friends. Thank you for checking out Bitcoin Adept. Today we will be discussing the price of Bitcoin. With the help of one additional asset, we will estimate where Bitcoin might go in the near future. We will also talk about altcoins, specifically about their differences, why some altcoins are not growing, which altcoins can potentially pump, and which ones are being offloaded by major players at Bitcoin's peak values. So let's start with Bitcoin. 12-hour chart. We will connect it, and we see that we are close to the lower part of those sideways accumulations where Bitcoin stayed the longest. Let's connect the sideways volume. And you see this yellow zone, this is the zone of prolonged accumulation for Bitcoin. You see we are in its lower zone. If the middle is approximately $97,000, we are now at 96,000. So those who open trades from this lower zone, it makes sense, of course, to open long positions, especially since the market is bullish. But guys, down below, we have a sort of basement where Bitcoin sometimes goes before it moves up north to the higher values, and we often drop down here. You can also see this, and again, if you are opening long positions, then make sure to have enough margin in short so you don't get liquidated. If the price goes a little lower, this is about medium-term trades. Moreover, this lower basement that I described to you is already a kind of established level that Bitcoin has found, meaning below $90,000. We haven't really fallen during these past 3 months. And the upper maximum zones, yes, that's $108,000. And the next maximum value is 109,000. And strangely enough, there are a lot of people who opened and are opening short positions, thinking that Bitcoin has turned around and will go down. And guys, at the levels of $109,000, right here, a large amount of liquidity is gathered, meaning a lot of liquidations. For those who open trades with high leverage, and it makes sense for a big player to at least minimally enter this zone to collect all this money, around $10 billion, give or take, of liquidity is gathered here. So if you go here, it would be fine. You can earn a hefty amount. And I'm talking about big players right now. Now let's bring up the weekly Bitcoin chart. And now I will show you which asset can be used to additionally track Bitcoin movements that might occur. I connect this asset from time to time, and it is the US dollar index, DXY. And look, many know, those who have watched my previous videos, that there are quite clear patterns here. That when the US dollar index, the chart of the US dollar index goes up, Bitcoin, on the contrary, goes down. And accordingly, the opposite, when DXY goes down, Bitcoin goes up. This is all visible on the chart. Well, so what does that mean for us? It's still unclear where a particular chart might go. But guys, with the help of certain patterns, you see that we had such a prolonged sideways movement on the dollar index, after which there was an upward movement and then a downward one. We had a peak value. Here we also had a kind of sideways movement, then an upward movement, after which Bitcoin reached its peak values. And now guys, look at the situation we have in general as well. There is a sideways movement on the US dollar index. An upward movement has just occurred. And let's better connect this index separately, the US dollar. And in general, it's important for us that it goes down at some point. And accordingly, from this, we can expect that Bitcoin, on the contrary, will go up. You see, notice the patterns. US dollar index, actually down, Bitcoin up, US dollar index. Yup, Bitcoin down, and so on. So, look, let's switch to the US dollar index on a separate chart. We monitor it. And here we see that it has been in this position for a long time. In such a rising, you could say, sideways trend since which year? Let's take a look. This has been the case since 2007, back when Bitcoin didn't even exist yet. And you see that Bitcoin reached its maximum values at the moment when this US dollar index was falling to some of its locally minimal values. That is, there was this kind of sideways trend, a decline here. end of 2017, beginning of 2018. Bitcoin was at its maximum values, after which Bitcoin fell, the US dollar index rose. Also, this sideways trend, a bear market, here we smoothly began a bull market and the US dollar index is going down. We are at this support zone. Here again, we have maximum values for Bitcoin. That is, after these prolonged sideways trends, the US dollar index falls below. Here we also have a maximum value for Bitcoin. And look, a similar situation is happening now. That is, a certain sideways trend is forming. Here, there is a bull market for Bitcoin. But we can reach maximum values if the US dollar index moves in the same way as it did before. Moreover, guys, you see that the main trend that is broad and ascending. And if we add to this trend, to this sideways movement, the trend where Bitcoin is and was in this sideways trend before going down, you see right. That is, here Bitcoin was already gradually moving into a bull market. And here it reached its maximum values. This is on the US dollar index. This is all within this average, you could say, growing trend. The same applies here. I have already shown you, just drew it separately. This is the trend where the US dollar index moves, and after which we can also fall even lower. And I just use this tool as an additional one for some confirmations of my thoughts on Bitcoin. That is, we reach these maximum values which we had reached before, you see, right, these candles, and after which we gradually went down on the index and up on Bitcoin. Now let's switch back to the Bitcoin chart and click through the signals that my signal indicators provide. Perhaps something has appeared on them today. So, on the weekly chart, everything remains the same. Strong signals upwards. Let's then look at the local one, so we can see at least some difference from the previous video, in which I also showed signals. So, let's load the 4-hour chart. Here, there are many strong signals downwards. That is, perhaps we will go lower at some point, as I mentioned, before further moving upwards. So that's regarding the Ishimoku Cloud Adept. Now the Golden Grail, the signal indicator, another one already on the 4-hour chart. Currently we have no signals. The last signal we had was for selling. Let's look at the 12-hour chart. Probably there are no signals here either. But yes, here we have a smooth sell signal was a while ago, and currently there's nothing. Let's click through the 3-day chart as well, and of course nothing new has appeared on the 3-day chart. All the global signals that were there have remained in history. And let's look at the last signal indicator, Bitcoin Adept buy and sell. This is the 3-day chart, and here too the signals are only historical. The signals were of course quite good, but that's all history, guys. All these indicators need to be observed at the moment when the signal is forming, and then you need to draw some conclusions. Not just look at the historical signal, for example, when it has already been established. This sell signal no longer means anything. It only mattered when it first started to appear and develop. I hope you understand this. Well, now let's look at the very local on the 4-hour chart, and that's it. We'll finish with the signals. And so on the 4-hour chart, there are about 12 different strategies embedded, if I remember correctly. In this indicator, Bitcoin Adept buy and sell tries to analyze the market in real time. So right now there is no signal yet. Again, the sell signal was only in the history, guys. Make sure to install all these My Signal indicators. It's absolutely free, and it works on the free version of TradingView, both on the phone and on the computer. In the video description it says how to do all this, and also join our trading chats. And now, guys, let's talk about altcoins and the difference between some altcoins. But I won't go into technical details. I just have identified 3 types, you could say, but this is very roughly 3 types of altcoins on which you can potentially earn something. The first are such high-tech, you could say, altcoins that may have their own ecosystem. Well, these are like Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Avalanche Tron. I'm talking about those altcoins on which you can currently make a profit. Not even just now, but those that can grow and on which you can make money. So the first list includes these high-tech ones. You could say altcoins, and the goal of all altcoins is to raise money and then wave goodbye to you. Yes, well, maybe for these altcoins it's all in a more long-term perspective, but in the second batch of altcoins, this is the main one. You could say there's a bunch of them, including meme coins and various shitcoins that are released by the thousands. Moreover, there's information from bloggers now that, for example, in the last cycle, there were only about 1,000 or 5,000 altcoins. Even if there was, for example, $1 million in the market, let's say as an example, not 1 million, but 1 billion. And now there aren't just 10,000 altcoins, but actually 200,000 altcoins, because everyone has created various shitcoins and different obscure meme coins. But there hasn't been more money in the market. Firstly, guys, there is more money in the market because there are many more participants. Now, projects like Hamster and Bloom, even if we just talk about Telegram taps, have attracted millions of participants. So there is significantly more money now. And don't think that all this money has been spread thin across these 200 or 300,000 altcoins that have been created. I think that 98% of these various shitcoins, no one is investing, guys. Investments are either in something established plus some new trends, but it's not that this entire monetary mass is spread across the whole market. I think all these 98% of altcoins, they are all irrelevant. And if you can invest in this first batch of technological altcoins, well, as investments, they don't grow as much, but they do grow. That is, in a bull market, when Bitcoin shows its growth, they also gradually grow. But the second batch of altcoins, it all depends on the admins. They can dump their coin at any moment. And here, guys, you can't predict. Honestly, yes, when a coin has already skyrocketed, everyone says, oh, we should have invested in it at the bottom. But that's a whole different story. Yes, the same goes for Bitcoin. You should have bought it when it was at a certain price. Guys, altcoin group. But again, this is all roughly speaking. Yes, it's purely, I separate them for the reason that they need to be distinguished when we reach the maximum values for Bitcoin. In short, the third group of altcoins are those into which major players will offload when we reach these maximum values, as we did with Bitcoin. That is, a major player offloads into altcoins, just like they do into stablecoins. Where there is high liquidity, that's one. Secondly, I believe that a major player can offload also into their own altcoins, such as, for example, Elon Musk with Dogecoin. And since we are now approaching closer to the maximum values for Bitcoin, but altcoins have not yet risen, I would like to mention coins like Dogecoin and the new Trump coin. Many have asked in the comments and requested to analyze it. So, for example, the coin Dogecoin. If we now add Dogecoin to the chart with Bitcoin, we will see something interesting. All right, a logarithmic chart, let's build it. Or do we have Dogecoin reaches its maximum values only after Bitcoin has reached its maximum values. And here, most likely, there was a sell-off in Dogecoin. And many know that Elon Musk bought a large portion of Dogecoins. Moreover, this was mentioned only after there was likely a transfer from Bitcoin to Dogecoin. And it's quite possible that Elon Musk bought Dogecoin. Elon Musk did this a long time ago, but we are always told about it only later. And guys, I want you to understand that it's really cool to have two assets. For example, Elon Musk as a wealthy person owns 100% and a significant amount of Bitcoin, which we are not told about. And when Bitcoin reaches its peak values, look, his Bitcoin also increases. When Bitcoin reaches somewhere, let's say $180,000, $200,000, it doesn't matter where, he starts transferring all of it into his own coin, but now into Dogecoin. Various interesting news is drawn to Dogecoin, and then the small investors start jumping in, or even, if not small investors, maybe funds, ETFs, or perhaps some large companies start buying up Dogecoin based on some very important news. And Elon Musk, that is, he exits Bitcoin into stablecoins and exits Bitcoin into Dogecoin and then closes out from Dogecoin on all these investors. And then exits again into stablecoins. And then this whole rigmarole collapses. Eventually, when we reach the maximum values, everything crashes down. Elon Musk ends up with a huge amount of stablecoins, billions of stablecoins, with which he buys Bitcoin again and buys back his own Dogecoin, which he can just as easily dump on the bear market. And Donald Trump, he's no fool either. He sees this whole system where you can multiply your capital. Although it's not the main source of income, of course, it's one of the hundreds of earnings for these people, but still a decent income. Moreover, Donald Trump comes from the stock market, or rather originally from the casino industry. He first had one casino, then a network of casinos. He rose through them, buying real estate and everything else, then the stock market and casinos and the stock market. Well, it's practically the same as crypto. Therefore, it's quite likely that Donald Trump created his own coin, which will also be unloaded at the peak values of Bitcoin. Well, those are my distant thoughts on this matter. I bought the Trump coin, bought Melania, and I also have Dogecoin. And look, if you connect the weekly chart for Dogecoin, some people asked for both Dogecoin and Trump for me to analyze. Guys, write in the comments which coins you are interested in for analysis. I will definitely include them in the next videos. Well, of course, I won't be taking various shitcoins. Which ones? The ones you bought accidentally because they are not of interest to everyone, but I will try to analyze some of the main coins. And so, Dogecoin, guys, this is our accumulation over 900 days in this cycle when Dogecoin was just hanging around right here in this entire accumulation zone, after which we had an upward movement, so a downward move, and now we are in a small correction, not higher than the previous maximum values. Let's look, guys, at the previous cycle, the same approximate 900 days of accumulation. Again, such a move up and down, and we were also in such a correction, not higher than the maximum values, after which it went up once to a correction, and the second time to the maximum values. Here, there was a sell-off of Bitcoin during these weeks, and here, at this moment, Bitcoin was just approaching its maximum values. That is, here it is already at maximum values. Here it hasn't reached them yet, but was already creeping up to them. That is, a similar story is happening now. Bitcoin is already close to its maximum values. We are at this point where we were in the previous cycle. Look, let's look at the cycle before last, that is 2 cycles ago. Again, approximately 900 days of accumulation. This is about Dogecoin. The lowest price was 0.00, in short, 4 zeros after the decimal point. And now, guys, the price is already, sorry, there are no zeros after the decimal point. Now it is worth $1. So, 2 cycles ago. The same upward movement. Look, the same correction. Here is a slight dip below the maximum value. An upward move. Again, a correction, and then an even higher move. And even if we go back to the very beginning of Dogecoin, the only thing missing here is the listing moment. The listing moment was something approximately like this. Upward movement, there was a listing. Upward movement. Again, a correction, upward movement. The same from these 2 major movements which were there. And after that, this one, yes, the second. Here are these main 2 movements after a slight pause before the previous maximum values, and it is quite likely that the same will happen now, that is, gradually. If Bitcoin goes up, then Dogecoin and some other coins will also revive and go higher, after which Bitcoin will reach its maximum values and unloading will begin. Here we will have a small stop, a correction for Dogecoin, just like it was here. The unloading will continue for Bitcoin, and accordingly there will be a flow into Dogecoin. Dogecoin might go even higher, but here I stretched it up to $10 well, at least to a few dollars. If it reaches $4, that would be very good. And guys, that's regarding Dogecoin. Now let's go over Trump. I bought it around $16 to $17. I don't remember with different limit orders. Let's start with the 4-hour chart. We will connect with you. And here's the story. As I already mentioned in my previous videos, that such new coins being released have agencies that handle them. These coins, obviously it's not Donald Trump sits or buys out, sells. There are agencies, firms that are involved in issuing, developing and promoting these altcoins, and we were initially aiming for the level of $25 when the coin was still worth $35. I told you that if Bitcoin goes up, then from the level of $25. And Trump can also go up, but guys, Bitcoin did not go up, so the coin is going down. The coin dropped even lower and found another bottom. Another bottom is around $16. Again, the same situation. It's like, preparation for some kind of start. Again, the coin finds a bottom and it's being bought up. And at the moment, when Bitcoin, if it had gone up, this coin would have been pumped up as well. I think they could have pumped it to around $150, but it depends on how Bitcoin would have gone up. But Bitcoin did not go up. Again, there's a kind of sideways movement now, even with a decline. And if this decline continues, then Trump might go even lower. Much lower, guys. I don't think there will be such sharp movements anymore. Even movements like these, I think, won't happen anymore. I think there will be a stop around $13 to $12 for this particular coin. And there will be this kind of fluctuation before Bitcoin starts. And that's only if Bitcoin doesn't turn around and go up right now. So my thoughts remain the same about the Trump coin, that it definitely needs to be pumped. Guys, it wasn't created just to shave off a little from the hamsters here, for some small amounts and then abandon it. I think this coin will still prove itself. And the Melania coin, guys, a similar pod story. Look, it's strange how these coins behave. It also reached its own level of support and was in some kind of preparation for a long time, I think, for a pump. But Bitcoin has slightly dipped just a little, and the zone where this coin trades has changed again. And in the same way, this coin is being bought up in this zone. This is clearly visible. And this zone is now the dollar. And guys, again, if Bitcoin goes down, this coin is very unlikely to drop significantly. Initially, there were strong downward movements, but later they weren't as strong. Now, I think let it be the dollar per coin, it's unlikely to go lower. Well, obviously, in the near future, if, again, Bitcoin doesn't suddenly drop sharply, no one knows this. Such a chance cannot be ruled out. But we are focusing on the normal market movement, even if it might be manipulative. In short, my benchmarks are such that, firstly, this zone where Melania is currently being bought up, just like Trump coin. If Bitcoin goes even lower, then I will simply buy more in this zone. Since my benchmarks suggest that Bitcoin doesn't have much time left to reach its maximum values, I don't think this coin will be dropped lower and lower, and I believe these coins will still prove themselves. Moreover, guys, when these coins are in the hands of the president and his wife, they likely have a large amount of Bitcoins, not personally, but under their management, and they can easily offload them as well. And just imagine the pump this coin could have if they start unloading appreciated Bitcoins into it, meaning this coin will skyrocket by creating some explosive news for this coin. Trump from the dome at some high values at the maximum, it will fly even higher. In short, later on, Trump will be offloading from this coin. In short, the fun could last for a long time, as well as the earnings, and that's all. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to hear my thoughts on the price of Bitcoin and altcoins. and also install all my signal indicators. Join our trading chats where there are traders. Participants share their trades that they make on the exchange, and also write in the comments which forecasts you are interested in, for which altcoins. I will try to cover them in the next videos. Thank you to everyone who watched this video to the end. Goodbye everyone!